Right. Evening all. Evening all. We're back on Old Reliable. Old Reliable StreamYard. Old Reliable StreamYard. Oh, man. I I was going to go live. I was planning on doing a live this evening, right? Before I get into everything and what I have on screen there. I was going to do a live this evening, and I thought, right, I'm going to try and do it from YouTube so I can sit on my normal chair where I normally record and kind of do it like that. Oh, my God. Never again. Never again. Fuck that. Never again. Everything went wrong between setting things to unlisted when it shouldn't have been, and no. And at the end of the day, I couldn't get the screen to stay the way I wanted it. So we're back on old StreamYard. We're back on. StreamYard is perfect. StreamYard is fucking perfect. We'll stick with this for the time being. Let's get a few people in. There's a few interesting things. So obviously, Frank Warren gave an interview today, right? Where I think it was an IFL, it was a Boxing Socials, one of them. I've seen snippets of it. And for a man whose company, Queensberry, has been falling on hard times the last few years, a man who is potentially going to be part of one of the biggest fights, if not the biggest fight in British boxing history, he didn't sound too pleased with all that was going on, which was kind of bizarre, I thought. I don't know what's going on with Frank Warren. Part of me thinks that, because I think they said it was an unknown representative of Top Rank, or it was an anonymous representative of Top Rank, something along those lines. It was someone to do with Top Rank anyway. Announced the Fury deal that, it was signed, and obviously Eddie Hearn. But I don't know who thereafter was part of that. So I don't know. Is Warren always struck me as though he knew this fight was happening. Is he pissed off now that this fight is meant to be taking place, or what is he doing? So Frank Warren, God only knows. But for a guy whose business has been absolutely tanking over the last few years, you think that having this fight announced as quick as can be would be good for him, because he's definitely going to get a payday out of it. But yeah, I thought that was bizarre. I'm still stoked about this fight. I'm just wondering where it's going to be, whereabouts in the Middle East they're going to do it. But in terms of everything else, Nick Webb versus Eric Pfeiffer on the Povetkin undercard. Literally what they've done with that card is, right, that card was meant to happen last weekend, right? And literally what they've done is they've taken every fight and they've just put it on this Gibraltar card. But they've added Eric Pfeiffer versus Nick Webb. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Eric Pfeiffer was the guy who Daniel Dubois was meant to fight during the summer in the run-up to Joe Joyce. And this is actually quite an interesting fight, because because they said that there was a lot of shenanigans behind the scenes with regards the fight with Dubois not happening. I don't know. I forget the reason why they didn't go through with it. I think they said it was to do with. It wasn't to do with what. It was weird. I think they said it was. I think they said it was like visas or something like that. It was something weird. It was some bizarre reason why Pfeiffer couldn't fight Daniel Dubois, and Team Pfeiffer said it wasn't their fault. It wasn't on their end. It was on Dubois' end. So I don't know what the hell's happened there, but Pfeiffer was a decent amateur. He's undefeated, and he was meant to go in there with Dubois, and Dubois was obviously meant to take that and go along and fight Joe Joyce. So I'm wondering how Pfeiffer's going to be, because he's in there against Nick Webb. Nick Webb is English level, would we say Nick Webb is? He obviously got iced by Dave Allen. He got knocked out badly by Sakalowski. He did win that Ultimate Boxer, which is like a prize fighter style tournament. He won that last year, or 2019, I should say. So he's getting back into it, but I don't know. It's an interesting one to me. This fight is an interesting one for that undercard. In terms of the rest of the card, that's literally between that and Cheeseman versus Metcalf. They're the only fights I'm really intrigued in on that, to be honest with you. Let's have a look-see here. Evening to Ben, big up to you. Shout out. Like I said, I went long last night. I'm not going as long tonight. I'm only going to do about an hour. And believe you me, the cock-ups we had trying to get this thing live earlier, it's just, I think it was a bad omen. Might have been a bad omen. Big up to Rich every time. Big up to Limo. Evening, G-Man. Bless the chat. Looking forward to this one. Yeah, well, we're going to have some fun with this. I wanted to do a live all day today. Wanted to do one this evening. I wanted to do it live, in the normal video position, but that ain't going to happen. YouTube and the Oriental View had other views. Lovejoy interview on Boxing Social that I called out Babbage Bacoli. I seen it. It like literally came up straight away in my recommended videos, but I haven't watched it yet. Christopher Lovejoy. I thought he was retired. I was nearly sure I seen a video from him about a week ago saying he was retired. So Christopher One Shot Lovejoy. He does a lot of 180s, doesn't he, for a guy who does one shot? You know, 1 minute he's retired, then he's fighting in Mexico, then he's fighting Stavern, then he's bankrupt, then he's retired again, and now he's calling out Babbage and Bacoli. He'd get absolutely. He is determined, that guy, to get a payday. Christopher Lovejoy. That is literally all he wants. He's never been paid for one of his pro fights, so he is literally just looking to get a payday fight, get a couple of grand, and cash out. That's literally what he's looking to do. Literally, that's what he's looking to do. So that's what Lovejoy is. You know, is what it is. Lovejoy he's a chancer. That's what he is. But I'll definitely have a look at it. Yeah, I'll definitely have a look at it. I'm just planning ahead for tomorrow, lads. It's Paddy's Day in Ireland. It's a bank holiday. So I'm planning a little day drinking session with the guys. So your boy's happy. Your boys are happy, G. We all good. We got a nice little session, day drinking session tomorrow on. It's Cheltenham, so we get to have a watch of that. But yeah, that's what the plan's looking like for tomorrow. I don't know if it was coincidence, but I like that G-Man doesn't always live premiere 8 hours in 2 hours or 8 hours. But I like that G-Man doesn't always have lives premiering. No, I never do that, because I always find that people don't get the they don't get the notifications. I remember I done that a few times where I like had it going for like an hour and people were saying they never got notifications. And I find that if you do it like, say, like 10, 15 minutes before it, you do get the notifications. So I reckon that's all it was. That's why I don't do them. I don't do it anyway, to be honest with you. I'll big up the H Money, and I got your name right this time. I was all over the place trying to mention your name last night, bro. I'll big up to you, man. Big up to H Money. And Timmy Neal. I haven't seen Timmy yet. Oh, there. Big up to Timmy. Oh, big up to H Money. We got H Money in the building. Big up to Timmy as well in the chat. Salute, G-Man. Mark Tibbs is busy. Yeah, he's getting the difference. He's getting a good stable of fighters now, Mark Tibbs. He's got Dubois. He's got Billy Joe. I still can't. I'd say Billy Joe, whenever he gets in there with Daniel Dubois, like when they're in camp together, he is going to give him an awful time. Can you imagine? You know what Billy Joe was like? Can you imagine what he's going to be like with Daniel Dubois? Man, he is going to absolutely have a field day with that guy. He is going to wind that poor lad up, and he is going to take the piss out of that lad. What good undercard fight is Eddie Hearn lined up for Chisora and Parker? Eddie reckons it's the card of the century. Well, it'd want to be a good card. You know, if he's putting that on pay-per-view, he's going to want to have a very, very good card. Like, put it like this, right? White Povetkin 2. It has Ted Cheeseman versus James Metcalf, Chris Congo versus Michael McKinson, Fabio Wadley versus Eric Molina, and Eric Pfeiffer versus Nick Webb. That fight is intriguing because we don't know how good Pfeiffer is, and we don't. Well, Webb is kind of British level, so it's kind of interesting there. Webb can punch a bit. Wadley, Molina, don't care. I don't know if I've seen Michael Mackinson fight. I might have. Name slips me. Ted Cheese and Metcalf. That's not a pay-per-view card, though. Like, in terms of the quality, you would expect a few more high-level fights. So if he's doing Chisora versus Parker, which is not a pay-per-view card, he is going to want to make sure he puts because he done Usyk versus Chisora pay-per-view. Not a pay-per-view, in my opinion. But at least if he'd stacked the card, he got Kambosos versus Selby. We were meant to get Lovejoy versus Allen. I mean, Jesus, as Limo says there, Lovejoy versus Allen, 12 rounds for the WBA regular. I mean, like, that is literally, that, to be fair, though, that is a freak show, and I really wouldn't wanted to see that, just for a comedy value. Like, that's why I keep saying there's entertainment to be had at all boxing. And Lovejoy, to me, I want to see him just because I want to get the curiosity. It's a bit like, how do you describe it? It's like, I'm sure movies, I love movies, right? And I'm just trying to think of a really crap movie that everyone wanted to see. Name slips me. There's a few movies out there, but do you ever think of a movie where you know it's shit, but yet you want to see it anyway, just to know how shit it is? Like, I love the first Coming to America. I haven't seen the second one yet, but everyone's telling me it's crap. Literally, everyone is telling me that Eddie Murphy's Coming to America 2 is garbage. But I'm still compelled to watch it. I haven't watched it yet, but I will watch it just because I want to see how bad is it. But the general consensus will come into America too. Everyone's told me who's seen it. They said, don't watch it. It's crap. But they were all compelled to watch it, if you know what I mean. It's a bit like that. You know, it's a bit like that with Lovejoy. You want to know how bad is he, and you just want to see it. It's a bit like a movie like that. It's a bit like Coming to America too. Everyone telling me it's crap, and I'd no doubt it is crap because Eddie Murphy normally does good movies. But when I saw the plot line, I was like, this. As soon as I kind of saw the first trailer, I had a feeling I knew what way that movie was going to go, and I was like, I know what this movie is going to be about, and I kind of had a feeling it would tank. And then when I asked people, I've seen other people ask, and they all said the same, absolutely shit. So I'm still going to watch it though, just because I'm curious to see how bad it is. Big up to Halim every single time. I'm still in disbelief this fight's really happening, man. It's going to be exciting. Yeah, I know, man. I remember when this first happened, I was like, no way is this fight going to happen. Well, lads and lassies, it's happening. Yeah, Lovejoy retired. Now he's come back out of retirement, apparently. Big up to E-Machine. Has Warren become more bitter in the past 2 years or so? Well, Frank Warren's always been a bitter guy. You know, I can imagine him as a kid in school. You know, if someone did better than him at a test, he'd probably, you know, smack their head against a table or something like that. Warren's always been a bitter guy. I don't know what it is. It's just like, it's like that guy it's like he gets almost a thrill out of being miserable. Because before he was smiling about this fight, you know, oh, this, that, and the other, you know, oh, I'm real happy. And now it's being like Eddie Hearn is saying, yeah, it's pretty much a done deal. And now he's like, oh, no, well, hang on a minute. And, you know, you got people saying, oh, they've 28 days to secure a site fee and this, that, and the other. It's just like, what the hell? Like, 1 minute, like before when this fight wasn't signed, you were happy about it. Now that it is signed, you're getting a bit kind of, you know, it's a bit weird. I know Eddie Hearn released an IFL interview, and I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to watch it probably this evening. Can't wait for AJ Fury because I can't wait to see AJ, if AJ could be the first man to topple Tyson Fury, because there's so many variants in this fight. I can't call a winner. It's a proper 50-50. That's what you want to see. You know, comments like that. The amount of times I see people either say it's going to be an easy win for AJ or it's going to be an easy win for Fury. And I'm sat there like, lads, it's going to be neither. Whoever wins this fight, I'm telling you, look, I can't guarantee anything, but I can guarantee whoever wins this fight is not going to have an easy time. If Fury has an easy time with AJ, I'll be amazed, and vice versa. Vice versa. Lately, you haven't been getting notifications. That's bizarre. Like, some people do and some don't. I don't know what way the YouTube notification works. I always just say, just untick the bell and then tick it again. And it normally does the trick. Lamb chop. Crack is good in Cracklewood. I don't even know where that is, man. I don't even know where that is. Yeah, man. Could Billy Joe Saunders have a negative effect on Daniel Dubois? Maybe Billy Joe would see a bit of... I reckon maybe Billy Joe would. I'm only Joe. I'd say Billy Joe probably would, you know, not be too harsh on the guy. But I'd say Billy Joe would take the piss out of him a bit. But I think Daniel Dubois is just so socially awkward. It's not... It's really... I've never seen... It's bizarre for me because when you see Dubois, like, when he was just starting out, you kind of thought, okay, he's just starting out. Maybe he's not giving anything away. But now you look and you're just like, what the hell? Like, I mean, like, there has to be more. There has to be more to you than that. You know, like, it's just a case of, yeah, no, it's just like the blankest canvas you'd ever want to meet. It's bizarre to me. It's intriguing in a way, but it's bizarre in a way as well, because you're just like, then you start to wonder what must go on in his head, like, not in a bad way, but just like, is there, like, when you know you're going to be interviewed and all this, like, what kind of goes on? It's just bizarre. You know, it's weird. Big up to Ra, hashtag GMAS Rocks. As always, Chris Edwards says, keep up the good work, enjoying your videos, mate. Man, I appreciate that you like them, man. I really do appreciate the fact that you like them. And Will Jones says, shout out from across the pond. Shout out to you, my man. Every single time. Big up to you, my mate. The other 3 world titles, 2 of them will be Katie Taylor and Terry Harper. Is he talking about having 3 world title fights on that card? They'll definitely put... I reckon what he'll do for Chisora Parker, he'll put Chris Eubank Jr. on the card. Maybe against John Ryder or someone like that. And then what he'll probably do is he'll probably put Katie Taylor on as the co-main event. In fact, I can pretty much guarantee he'll probably do that. Eddie Hearn will, because Katie Taylor will always get good numbers from the Irish viewers. They will buy the pay-per-view just for Katie Taylor. So I can see why he does that. And I was actually surprised he didn't put her on the Usyk Chisora card, because that card was not great. And I knew that it wouldn't probably do well in terms of bias. And I still don't know what the numbers were on that. But I know for sure that if you put Katie Taylor on that, if you've done, say you've done 100,000 buys, you'll do a lot more than that. And that's being generous. But say you've done that and you didn't have Katie Taylor, you do a lot more with her on the card. Just from the Irish public, they'll just buy Katie Taylor. If they hear Katie Taylor's in a fight, they're buying. Simple as. I can guarantee that. A lot of them do that. Loads and loads and loads of them do it. Shorty Del Boy is pay-per-view because he does numbers. Because Brits and Irish love him. And Adam Smith called him a British cult heavyweight on his ring walk. Yeah, Chisora is interesting to me. I mean, like, Chisora is a classic case in point where you don't need to worry about wins and losses, because Chisora's been knocking around. And best believe, right, in 2016, when just before he fought Kubrat Pulev, I really thought Chisora was on his way out. In terms of him as a fighter, in terms of him fighting at any decent level, I thought he was on his way out. Then he was able to kind of, claw some of that back in the White fight. I was able to look at him and say, oh, Jesus, he's not. There's still a little bit there. There's still a little bit left there. But the fact that now we're in 2021 and he's still being talked about as a pay-per-view star, I mean, Chisora is smart, because look at some of the decisions he's made over the years with regards taking fights and not taking fights. If you think about it like this, right? He was offered Joe Joyce several times. Remember when David Haye, it's amazing, isn't it? And in the space of 6 months, this changed. But remember when he was being, Joe Joyce was being promoted and managed by David Haye. And everywhere David Haye went, there was Joe Joyce. When Chisora fought on, I think it was I forget who it was. It might have been Sam Egerton or someone like that, but it was a Sky Fight Night. He fought on an undercard. And you could see the arena was half dead. You had David Haye saying, you're going to fight on my undercard against Joe Joyce, this, that, and the other. And Chisora was just saying, no, money's not right. And he was getting offered like 6 figures. He was like, money's not right, this, that, and the other. Well, he went and took a Takam fight instead. Some people said that was a higher risk. And he got the Takam fight. He won the Takam fight. He ended up getting the Dillian Whyte fight. Performed well in the Dillian Whyte fight. Ended up coming off the back of that, getting fights with Spilka, Price, and then Usyk. It's quite incredible when you look at it and you think what Chisora has actually done, how he manages his career, and how he's been able to go from defeat to a couple of, rehabilitation fights, stay busy fights, to being back on pay-per-view. It is quite incredible when you think about it and you put it in context, because you're just thinking of it and you're just like, holy shit, how does he do it? How does he lose so frequently? But yet, within 2 wins, the public have completely forgot about the loss. And then they're just like, they want to see Chisora again. It's pretty incredible when you think about it. Did you see Chisora said that Akali step up to heavyweight and take on White? How do you see that going if it happens? Lawrence Akali is going to be a world champion this weekend, right? No doubt about it. No doubt in my mind, Lawrence Akali is going to be a world champion this weekend. But him a heavyweight, I mean, a cruiserweight, his advantage is he's bigger than the guys, he's longer, and normally he's stronger. Now, you bring him up to heavyweight, and he's going to be bigger than some guys. Is he going to be stronger? No. Lawrence Akali, I question his punch resistance, because I've seen him get starched in the amateurs a few times, and I've seen him get dropped several times in the amateurs. I've seen him get knocked out in a round by Arislandi Savon in the amateurs. I think the minute he moves up to heavyweight, irrespective of who it's against, but sooner or later, he'll go in there at heavyweight, and someone will lift Lawrence Akali clean off the ground. So at cruiserweight, look, he's ungainly, he's long, he's lanky, he hits hard, he's strong. Everything a cruiserweight doesn't want. You bring him up to heavyweight, and he is going to struggle. He might not struggle straight away, because they might match him against guys similar size or some guys who aren't very good. But the minute, if he fought someone like Dillian Whyte would take Lawrence Akali's head clean off his shoulders. seriously. And all the holding, I mean, like, he was able to tie up Chamberlain. He was able to tie up, who was the other guy? Askin. Would he be able to tie up a Dylan White? Would he be able to tie up someone as big as him? No. And for that reason, there's no way. And as Ting says there, as Raz says there, no point of calling a move to everybody still managing AJ, is still competitive at the top. I don't think he'd get to the top personally. I really don't. Do I think there's heavyweights he'd beat? Of course there's heavyweights he'd beat. But just think of it like this. Imagine him in there against someone like a Marius Vac. Marius Vac is strong. He's durable. He hits hard. He's bigger than Akali. I'm not necessarily saying he wouldn't beat Marius Vac, but the way Akali looks at cruiserweight, where he looks devastating, he looks good. Someone like Marius Vac, if he's on game and he's fired up, could cause Lawrence Akali so many problems. You know, I'm not necessarily saying he'd win because, you know, Marius Vac certainly has seen better days, but someone like that could give Lawrence Akali problems. Even someone like a Daniel Dubois, like, could you imagine Akali going in there with a Dubois? Because Akali, well, put it like this, pre-Joyce Dubois, what did he do? He would box a bit, but he'd mainly go in there and try and overpower you. Could you imagine Lawrence Akali? We'll say he's, 220 as a heavyweight, trying to overpower Daniel Dubois. He'd get absolutely ragdolled. So, yeah, I think cruiserweight, he's all well and good, but the minute he steps to heavyweight, he's going to struggle a bit. Kid Cash says, shout out to G-Man. What's your view on, you mean, is it Austin Williams, the guy's name is? He's interesting. You know, I think he's 8-0. He's interesting. I'll be having a look at him. He was fighting there the weekend. And who else was? There was another guy fighting the weekend who had a draw. I forget the guy's name, but that let me down so bad, that draw. Are you suggesting Billy Joe Saunders will bully Daniel Dubois because they have the same trainer? No, I'm not saying he'd bully him, but I'd say he'll take the piss out of him a few times because Billy Joe was that kind of character. You get the impression Billy Joe was the kind of guy where if he saw someone who's a bit socially awkward, he might just try and, you know, have a few digs now and again. I think Dubois needs a lively setup, though. That's what I think he needs. But I said it before. I think that him and Ben Davison would have been a good fit. Not because Ben Davison is a good trainer, but when I look at Ben Davison's stable of fighters, they're all young. They're all, you know, cool guys. And I reckon that might have brought something out in Dubois that you needed. You know, being around that kind of lads environment, you know, that might have been better than, you know, anything else. Just being around guys, similar age, bit of fun, bit of banter, might get him out of his shell. But you'd be amazed what, you know, there are so many people you'd know who are shy, really, like, painfully shy. You stick them in a situation where they're around lads their own age who like them and they want to, you know, have a bit of fun. You'll see people kind of, you know, get out of their kind of, you know, cloak, so to speak. What's the word? How is it? I can't remember the word, but you see them kind of take the mask off a bit. So maybe that would help Dubois. Now, maybe that would. I could be wrong. It could have the opposite effect. You could have people and they're even more frightened. Akali Breedis, Makabu are good fights. Yeah, Breedis, I think, would. Breedis, if you fought Breedis in Latvia, there's no way. Well, Breedis is a one for holding as well. He holds something terrible as well, Marius Breedis. But he's a lot smaller. But Marius Breedis is a great fighter. He's an excellent fighter. And to be fair, Breedis only holds in fights where there is a perceived threat. You know, he held terribly against Perez. That was really bad. That was really bad. And that was a close fight. You wonder what would have happened against Mike Perez if he wasn't allowed to get away with all the holding. Because that fight was competitive, him against Perez, even though, you know, Marius Breedis was breaking a lot of rules in there. And Perez was able to be competitive the whole way through. You know, he was able to be competitive the whole way through. What was there? We go. Liam Williams fighting Demetrius Andre. April 17th, my man. April 17th. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing him fight Demetrius Andre, to be fair. Him against Boohoo Andrade. I think that's going to be a good fight. Yeah, I agree. But I reckon, but can he do a Usyk and try and get undisputed a cruiser, then move up? Not saying he's better than Usyk. No, I could see what you mean. He may very well do that. May. I don't know. I don't know if Akali would be. How long would he stick around with a cruiser? You see, he doesn't know how easy he makes it. Someone his size, you reckon? And because Akali's what, in his mid to late 20s now, so I don't know how easy he'd make cruiser. But I can see him doing something like that. But personally, I reckon he's going to eventually go up to heavyweight. And we're going to see him struggle then. That's what I think. I reckon you're going to see him struggle. We might not see him struggle straight away, but I reckon we will at some stage. For me, Fury is to use his height and reach to stay out, to have a great chance of beating AJ as the shorter man. AJ is to be aggressive and consistently fighting the inside. Well, AJ can fight in the inside. That's one thing that is actually quite good. He is quite good at the inside. I think that AJ is not going to win a boxing match with Tyson Fury. He's going to need to take it to him, I reckon. That's what I reckon. And AJ's, his counters on the inside, his hooks on the inside are very good. That's what I said in the Pulev fight would happen, that the uppercut will be king for AJ, and it was. What he thought about Tony Yoka, Terry Chapandama off Beautiful Boxing Podcast thinks he's a huge threat. I've only seen him a couple of times, wasn't overly impressive. Well, a lot of people weren't too impressive when he fought, what was the guy's name? Christian Hammer. But Christian Hammer is a spoiler. He's difficult to look good against. I mean, Povetkin didn't even look good against Christian Hammer. So I don't begrudge him that. The last guy he fought was a guy coming up from cruiserweight. And I have to say, he was a lot better than people thought. I kind of saw that name and I thought, this would be an easy enough fight for Tony Yoka. He was a lot more game than a lot of us thought. So I think Yoka has a lot of potential there. He definitely has a good jab. He was looking, you can tell he's back training with Virgil Hunter, because the things he was doing, even to his stance, it looked very Andre Ward-esque, even to the way he was standing, the way he was probing with the jab. It looked just Andre Ward-esque in there when he was fighting. I forget the guy's name, but it was only a couple of weeks ago. I forget the guy's name he fought, but I reckon that there's a lot of potential in Tony Yoka. I just worry that because Yoka's talking about fighting for a world title in the next year, I just worry, is he maybe jumping the gun too quick? That's what I'm worried about. Is he jumping the gun too quick? I know we had the year off where he was banned because he missed 3 drug tests, and that didn't help. But I just wonder, is he jumping the gun a little bit too quick? And I think he needs to at least fight for a European title or something like that. G-Man Fury would use a hybrid of a style against Wilder. He'll be evasive for the first 6 rounds. Wait till AJ gets the stamina issues and start coming and putting the pressure forward. Yeah, I reckon that's the plan they're going with as well, personally. That's what I reckon. That's exactly what I reckon they're doing. Hopefully now Fury AJ is signed. The Joyce Usyk fight can happen. Cracking fights. They can both make money for that. Yeah, well, I really want to see. I really, really, really want to see Usyk versus Joyce. I think that's a great fight. I'd almost prefer that. No, I wouldn't actually. I'm telling them. What am I saying? I wouldn't prefer that, but I like that fight an awful lot. I'm probably in the minority who gives Joe Joyce a really good shot in that fight, because Joe Joyce is just one of them guys where he looks deceivingly bad, but it's actually quite good, if you know what I mean. He's really easy. He looks bad to the unseen eye, but when you actually see what he's doing, you're like, he knows what he's doing. And Joe Joyce, his chin is good, so he'll take some stopping. Could a Collie beat Alan Babbage? Oh yeah, I reckon he beat Babbage. I reckon he beat Babbage personally. Personally, if you want my opinion, yeah. If they put him in there now, I think he'd beat the crap out of Babbage. It'd be competitive, but I reckon he'd use his height and reach over Babbage. I mean, Babbage is really a cruiserweight, lest we forget. So I reckon he'd beat Babbage. Babbage is great fun to watch. He's entertaining, but I'm going to be realistic, and I'm going to say it like it is. I don't think Babbage is going anywhere. Certainly not a heavyweight. He's fun to watch. He's entertaining. He comes forward. He's all action. He throws punches in the opening round. He's a cool guy. He's fun to watch. But Babbage is a great character. He is. But in terms of me watching him thinking, oh, he's going to do... No, I don't. But we'll see how that goes. Collie stinks the place out generally. Yeah, he does. I just hope he doesn't do that this weekend. Smash the like button. If you could. 47 in the chat. Doesn't cost a penny. Doesn't cost anything. It's free. If you could, lads, smash the like button. It's free. That's what I say. It is free. Just saying, leave it there. Ben Davison would be great for Daniel Dubois. Yeah, I think Ben Davison is a good coach. I've said that for the longest time now, that I rated Ben Davison quite highly as a coach. I thought he's all right. I think he's an okay coach, and I still do. And I think that even just the environment with Ben Davison there would be good for Daniel Dubois. Someone who is as socially awkward as him, having a couple of like the lads around, it'd be a good laugh. It'd be good for him. It might bring him out of his shell. And you know what? If you have Dubois, who's a bit more outgoing, maybe it will add to something. Give him a bit more, in his performance. A big up to Penny. Made it in. Yeah, you made it on time this time. When I go to MTK Gym, I have good banter with the team, especially Josh Taylor. Every time he speaks to me, I say I and we. Yeah, big up to Josh Taylor. Man, Josh Taylor, I'd love to get into one. Whenever they open the restrictions and we can travel again, I would love to go to that performance center. Fuck, I would love to get to that performance center. Seriously. Even just to train there. Where is it? There's several gyms, though. There's several in there, though. I think there's one in Essex. There's a few in Spain, isn't there, still, MTK gyms? There's a few around, I know that. Well, there's a few around. Yeah, there's 3. There's S6, MTK, Matchroom, and Peacock. Well, Peacock Gym's in London. It's in East London. I actually only found out, I was only like 5 minutes away from the gym, that Peacock's gym, when I was over there. For some reason, I thought Peacock's gym was in the south of London. I don't know why. I remember looking it up. I remember looking up a few gyms. And I could not tell you why, but I honestly thought Peacock's gym was in the south of London. And I find out it was only a 5-minute walk from the hotel. Oh, that's a good question. Hrgovic versus Yoka. Who wins? That's an interesting one, actually. I'm not sure. Hrgovic versus Yoka. I would probably edge if I had to put money down and put a prediction down, and I'm doing it's Cheltenham week and I'm meeting the lads tomorrow, so I'm saving some money for that. I'll put some bets down tomorrow. But if I had to put money down, I would put it down on Yoka, probably on points. But because I rate Hrgovic, I think he's very good, but I actually do think that maybe Yoka would take that. I'm impressed with Yoka. I don't want him to jump the gun and start thinking he can go for guys like, hey, I would let him have some more stay busy fights. What do you think of Shane McGuigan as a trainer? UK top 3? Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely UK top 3. Shane McGuigan is a good coach. Might not agree with some of the things he does and says, but as a coach, he's a very good coach. He's a very good coach. Big up to Dale Clark. What's your thoughts on Margarito and Lewis Resto with the illegal hand wrap controversy? Well, with Resto, it was gloves. All right, it was definitely gloves with him. With Margarito, yeah, man, I think it was Mosley and it was Cotto who we got popped with the what was it? They had like plaster of Paris in the hand wraps. I know with Resto, it was the gloves against Billy Collins, where they took like an ounce or something like that of padding out with the gloves, and he smashed up Billy Collins' face to bits. It was Billy Collins. I think of Billy Collins. I was getting too mixed up. But yeah, if you've ever watched Assault in the Ring, that's a great documentary. I recommend you go watch it. Assault in the Ring. I recommend you go watch that. Belts will be fragmented after. Loads of iPhones could pick up. Yeah. Oh, man. Whoever wins that, I reckon whoever wins those 2 fights, they will end up just retiring, I reckon. So whatever happens thereafter, whoever picks up the belts, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, they will be. That's the problem. Enjoy this while we have it, because we don't always get undisputed, and when we do, we don't get them for long. Andre versus Williams is the same night as the Jake Paulson's Fest. Well, I've no interest in watching Jake Paul fight, to be honest with you. Yeah, I would much prefer to watch Demetrius Andre versus Liam Williams. I'm taking Demetrius Andre in that fight. I think that we are finally going to see all the pieces fit for him. I think he is finally going to... He's frustrating, Demetrius Andre, because I've rated him for years. I've watched him for years. I've always been a fan of his. I think we are finally going to see the performance that we've been waiting for. We are going to see him really look at his best against Liam Williams. I think he's going to beat Liam Williams on points. All right, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm banking on. Now, Liam Williams could win. He's looked very good under Dominic Ingle. You know, yeah, looked a lot better under Dominic Ingle since he moved up there, but we'll say no more. You know what the Wicker Bank Gym in Sheffield is known for? Belt to be fragnated after, yeah. Loads will pick that up. Loads will be getting title shots. Needs 2 more years to learn how to fight as a heavyweight. Yeah, you sure as hell won't be able to fight as a heavyweight the way he does a cruiserweight. He would get absolutely barred if he does that. Oh, he will get barred if he does that. Big up to Brennan, the one and only G-Man, of course. Wilder versus Ruiz. Who do you got? I got Ruiz boxing rings around Wilder winning a wide points decision. That to me is such an interesting fight. I really, really, really want to watch that fight. I really hope we get that fight. If Wilder, see, Ruiz seems more willing to speak about that than Wilder. With Wilder, it's a case of title shot or bust. It really, like, you very seldom see him or hear him these days mention that. But when you do, it's Fury or Joshua. You don't hear him say, you know, White, Ruiz, Charles Martin, etc., etc. I'd love to see that fight. If I had to bet, I would say Deontay Wilder wins. I think that even now, I'd still favor Deontay Wilder to win the fight. I just think he'd be able to find a home for the right hand on Ruiz. Ruiz doesn't move his head enough. And if you don't move your head against Deontay Wilder, you're going to have a world of problems. Even now. Because Wilder is fast with the right hand. He's accurate. He's lethal. If you have poor head movement against Deontay Wilder, you are going to have a world of problems. I just holocausted my bathroom with projectile diarrhea. Lovely image. Lovely thought. Peacocks is in East London. East London is closed. Oh, really? Martin Bauer sold the property and moved to... That's bizarre. A lot of people are doing that now. They're moving out their gyms to Essex. I wonder why. I know Essex and London are not exactly far apart. I think Essex is east of London. I think if you go... I think it's like east of London is Essex. I'm not sure if that's a county or whereabouts, but I know Essex isn't in London. I think Essex is a county and it's on its own. But yeah, a few people have done that. Adam Booth's gym was that in London, but I think it's definitely in Essex now. Peacock's gym has moved last month or January. Oh, really? Because that did used to be in East London. I know that. It was only like a stone's throw away from where I was staying when I was over there, which is quite freaking annoying because I would have went there. I would have trained in that gym for a day if I could have. If I'd known, I thought it was in the south side of London. I thought it was near, like, you know, what was it, Hackley and places like that. G-Manager, I've let them down as Essex is in northeast London. No, it was in North. I knew it was in northeast London. I knew it was in northeast London, but I didn't know it moved to Essex. I know Essex is in a different part of the UK. What's next for Josh Kelly? I mean, I don't know, man. I really don't know. I mean, new trainer, potentially. But that defeat was damaging. You know, that defeat was damaging for Josh Kelly. So we'll need to see how he looks moving forward. But they rushed him. It's as simple as they got Josh Kelly. They rushed him. They moved him along too quick. I think that I was watching after that loss to Avanesyan. I went back and I watched some of Josh Kelly's old fights just because I always knew that Sky were bigging up Kelly too much and the flashiness was a bit too... People were falling in love with the flashiness. And I remember he fought a guy, I forget the guy's name, but he was like 4-1. And he knocked the guy out in the round with those left hooks. And the Sky commentary team were saying, "Yo, oh, what a win. It was amazing. It was fantastic. Everyone should sit up and take note." And I remember watching that only after he lost to Avanesyan, and I was like, that's why he lost. Because all that is just way, way, way too much hype. Way too soon. And in theory, imagine if Josh Kelly had fought Avanesyan in 2018 when it was originally announced. He would have got barred. Like, he got quite a bad loss a couple of weeks ago, but that would have been even worse. A lot of talk of Ruiz Wilder. Has it been signed? No. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see with that. I wouldn't mind seeing the fight. A lot of people saying Ruiz. I think Wilder, but hey, I think that's a great fight. I'm on cloud today. Cheltenham just saying, "Oh, you won on Cheltenham." I was like, thought you were on cloud 9. I was like, what? Oh no, I'm not good at horse betting. I've done it before, but I'm not great at it. But I'm meeting the lads tomorrow. We're doing some day drinking. I haven't drank since Christmas, so we're doing a bit of day drinking. So I haven't done that in a while. So we're going to have some fun. I've just no idea who to bet on. I'm not good at betting on horses. I don't follow it religiously. So I think I have 10 quid in my Paddy Power account. So we'll see. Can we turn that Ted Quinn into, 100 quid, or will we lose it all? Will we cash it all in on red? Who knows? But yeah, we'll have to wait and see that. Chisora versus Yoka is a good stepping stone for Yoka, and that's a style I want to see Derek or Tony Yoka in there against. I want to see what he's like when he fights a pressure fighter, because he did struggle a bit in the amateurs with pressure fighters. He did. So for me, that's a very good style for Tony Yoka moving forward. I have a lot of belief in Tony Yoka. I think he is very good. I think there's a lot of talent there, but there's a few boxes that need to be ticked with Tony Yoka. Make no mistake about that. That's one thing I definitely believe. R.I.P. to Billy Collins. Oh man, that was sad. G-man, that's right. Brother was Cotton Mosley. Resto still denies he knew about it. As you know, but Billy Collins went blind. It ultimately led to his death. I don't think he went blind. I think his eyes were smashed up so bad he couldn't box again. And Billy Collins was only 21 years old. I think he was 21, 22. He was really young. And it was a nightmare. I remember watching that Assault in the Ring documentary, and they had the picture of him where it looked like his eyes were closed. And the guy turned around and said his eyes weren't closed. They were actually open. That's how smashed up they were. They looked horrific. Horrific. But I remember that was on a Top Rank card. I think that was on the undercard of Roberto Duran, if I'm not mistaken. It might have, forget whose undercard it was on, but yeah. And he had a lot of potential, Billy Collins. He was a good fighter. So it would have been interesting to see how he would have went on if he'd, been all right. They're all good fights. I still think Joe Joyce won that. You need to fight each other. Oh, man. I really want to see that fight. Man. I think Wilder wins, but it's a competitive fight for both guys. It's not a foregone conclusion. Some people saying Ruiz needs to move his head. If he doesn't move his head, he's in all kinds of bother against Deontay Wilder. Ruiz too stationary. Yeah, Ruiz will definitely be able to counterpunch Deontay Wilder if he gets close. And I don't know how Deontay Wilder would deal with that. But saying that, if Ruiz just decides to come in, not move his head, he's going to walk into a right hand and all about it then. If he thought Anthony Joshua hit hard, that's nothing compared to what Deontay Wilder will do. Who's top ranked heavyweight other than Fury? They have a Jagba, they have Pulev, they have Brian Jennings, they have... Who else do they have? I think that they probably have more, but it's just slipping my mind. Jesus, who else do they have? They have a few heavyweights other than Fury, definitely. Still don't know if I can see Wilder in the ring. Do you know what? I don't know myself, to be honest with you. I think we probably will, but I don't know if he even wants. I don't know. It's a weird one. Essex stretches right to the coast, but it should be into East London, walking distance from my house. All right. You see, I don't know the UK that well, as you can tell, obviously, by some of the geography things I've said, like saying Morecambe is in Leicestershire. Some of the things I don't know the UK too well. I know the south better than I know the north. Right, I know the south better than the north, definitely, and that's not saying much. I know very little about the south, to be honest with you. But I know Essex is just outside London. I think just outside it, so it's in around there. But I wouldn't mind seeing Essex, to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind just getting out of Ireland in general for a few days. But easier said than done. You'll never forgive a Reeves turning up that shape again. Yeah. I really did think, and it shows that Ruiz has a lot of I believe he's got insecurities there. I mean, why does he feel the need when he knows himself that he is not in any kind of shape to feel the need to keep on, oh yeah, I'm in shape, this, that, and the other. And it's like, are you trying to tell yourself that you're in shape in the hope that, you'll be able to get it like into reality? Because you don't turn up in shape and you post picture yourself in different angles. Oh, I'm in shape. I'm in shape. You turn up. Oh, I'm not in shape. It's like, what the hell? Like, big up to Graham Taylor. Rivas. Yeah, I knew there was a few top ranked. Rivas hasn't fought since since when? Since he lost to Dylan White. He's not fought since then. By the way, peeps, if you could, smash the like button. Just asking. Was Kelly Rush considering he was Olympic? He was in an Olympic 4 years ago. He made slow progress. Yeah, I definitely believe Josh Kelly was rushed. You know, he fought the guys he fought on the way up, right? They weren't great. They made out those journeymen that he was fighting on the way up were good. They weren't. But there was issues from early on. You could see it with Josh Kelly. There was issues from the minute he stepped into that pro ring against Jay Byrne. There was issues, right? But those issues never got addressed. You know, I was seeing things from Josh Kelly in his pro debut, bad things, that he was still doing against Ray Robinson. And I was looking at that thinking, these are not getting addressed. Why are they not getting addressed? What exactly is it about, like, Josh Kelly that are you looking at, like, the flashiness and not looking? Because it's what I said about the magician. He's getting you to look one way. So you're looking one way and you're like, oh, look at all the flashiness on this side. And most people are looking at that. Whereas someone like me and other guys are saying, hang on a sec. Yeah, that's all well and good. He's doing all this flashy stuff. But what about all this other stuff? Is this just being swept to one side? He needs to address these issues that he has, lack of head movement, lack of punt, lack of correct technique, a lot of things that he doesn't do right. Basic things that if he could address them, be an improved fighter, but they just didn't address them. And then the minute he got in there with someone like Avanasian, who was able to pressure him, land on him, and just basically outman him, we saw what happened. Josh Kelly came apart very, very quickly, And in those 5 rounds, or 6 rounds it was a damaging loss. Make no mistake about it, So again, I always said that Josh Kelly would lose more so to a counterpuncher as opposed to an out-and-out pressure fighter. But I did always feel a good pressure fighter would cause him a world of trouble. I always felt that a good pressure fighter would cause Josh Kelly a world of trouble. I thought it'd be more so a counterpuncher who would give him the issues, to be honest, though. Luckily, no boxers have died in the last year. Yeah, happy. I don't like seeing that, mate. Year to MT Knowledge, the heart before the last 4 fighters worldwide in the wing. Your thoughts? MT Knowledge. I haven't heard much of them, to be honest with you. But as long as we don't look, boxing is the name of it is what it is. You're always going to get injuries and etc. etc. But if we can minimize it, that's the plan. You're never going to. See, me being a fan of F1, I always get so irritated when I see people keep saying, oh, we need to do this. We need to do this. Oh, that corner's too dangerous. It's like they're driving around 190 mile an hour in cars that are barely, 600 kg, 650 kg. You're going to have knocks. You're going to have spins. You're going to have injuries. It's part and parcel. We try and minimize it, of course, but stop trying to, wrap these guys up in cotton wool. It's not just going to work like that. So it's the way it is. You're always going to have it. The idea is to minimize it without taking too much away from it, if you know what I mean. With boxing, it's a bit more straightforward. We need to get tests done on these fighters, make sure there's no concussions, to make sure they're cutting weight properly, stuff like that. There's a lot of things you can do. And I think the concussion test to be the best thing, because I'm convinced there are fighters going into that ring with pre-existing concussions for sparring. There has to be. I remember Ray Beltran said the first time he sparred Manny Pacquiao, in the first round, Pacquiao hit him with a left hand. And I think he said he went 8 rounds or something like that, Manny Pacquiao. And after he left the ring, he could barely stand. He wasn't knocked out or anything like that, but he could barely stand after sparring Manny Pacquiao. Went and got checked out, and he had a concussion. And that was in sparring in the first round. And he fought another, I think, 7 rounds with the concussion. And that was in sparring. So you got to imagine this happens a lot, So for me, and look at Dylan White. Dylan White would definitely have got a concussion following that Povetkin knockout. Now, he was planning on fighting Povetkin in November. So he would have started sparring early September. Do you really think that he would have recovered from that concussion so soon? He definitely didn't. I remember, what's the guy's name? Michael Vernon Page said it took him 4 months to recover from a knockout he suffered in Bellator, properly to get over the concussion. So I think that if you want to avoid fighters getting injured, you really need to look at the concussions. You really need to just test them for concussions, because they're not going to tell you. And I think that's the best thing you can do, personally. I don't know how easy it is to implement, especially in different countries, but I reckon that's the best thing you can do. Used to be a jockey on the sprints, good for toning, good for fighting. I need as much help as I can for tomorrow, because I have no idea who I'm going to bet on or what I'm going to bet on in Cheltenham. I'm just going to go by what the lads tell me. I'm just going to go sip on Coors Light and just go by what the lads tell me. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm fucking ecstatic. I'm absolutely delighted, because I haven't been on a proper, I haven't gone day drinking in ages, since the summer. Jesus, it's been a while. So I'm literally, tomorrow, it's Paddy's Day, it's Cheltenham, it's day drinking with the lads. Whatever money I have on my Paddy Power account, I'm going to let them tell me what, because I have no idea when it comes to betting. If they tell me, the three-legged horse is the tip to win, I'll be like, yep, put it on old wonky legs. There we go. Or, that horse is blind in one eye, but he's tipped to win. I'll be like, grand, let him run into as many trees as he wants. I know no better. So that's what I got to say on that. G-Man, what do you think of the Hart Margarito showed against Pacquiao, Tim Bradley? Hart showed against Provodnikov. It was damn near beautiful. I tell you what, Margarito took an absolute mother of a beating against Manny Pacquiao. I mean, that was horrific. He really took a Hail Mary beating against Manny Pacquiao. Tim Bradley, he was suffering neurological damage after that. I could watch that Provodnikov fight back over. There are certain fights that you have to watch at least once a year. Like, I make it my business to watch Guillermo Jones versus Denis Lebedev at least once a year. That fight was unbelievable. If you've never watched Guillermo Jones versus Denis Lebedev, if you go on Daily Motion, they have a Box Nation commentary of Barry Jones. It's one of the best fights it's probably one of the best fights of the 2010s. Seriously. That was a hell of a fight. There's fights that you just want to see every now and again. Ruiz got knocked down Versace on the inside, so was that away where Wilder would catch Ruiz at mid-range? Wilder has a slight inside game. I've seen him, exchange with uppercuts on the inside against Johan de Opus. I don't think it's as polished as Anthony Joshua's, though, personally. But I reckon Wilder could have some success on the inside, definitely. It's definitely not as clean on the inside as Anthony Joshua is. Definitely not. What do you think Frank Warren needs to do to put up quality product to compete with Matchroom? At this stage now, I don't think he will. I think that, do you remember in 2017? Was it 2017 or 2018? No, 2018. 3 years ago. Yeah, it would have been 3 years ago. Frank Warren done that kind of table where he had all his fighters. And he had Carl Frampton, he had Josh Warrington, Tyson Fury, Billy Joe Saunders. He had a few others. And now he literally has, he'd loads of them. He'd Anthony Yard, he'd loads of them. And now literally in terms of fighters who he can earn money off, he has Carl Frampton and Tyson Fury. That's it. And that was peak for Frank Warren to try and stamp his authority on Eddie Hearn. And it's just not gone that way. I think that had 2020 had been a normal year, right? If, let's say, in an alternate universe, 2020 had just been normal, Frank Warren should have, if Deontay Wilder fight never happened, Frank Warren would have made an absolute killing putting Dillian Whyte versus Tyson Fury on in Old Trafford. I reckon that would have done well. So 2020 hasn't helped old fish eyes. And I reckon that had it been a normal year last year, if he could have got away with doing Dillian Whyte versus Fury for the WBC title, he would have got a killing doing that in the UK. Oh, yeah. The real big baby, Jared Anderson. He is an interesting shout. I'm very intrigued to watch his career. He's very good. And that guy, what was his name? Michael Coffey or something his name is, the heavyweight who knocked out Darmani Rock. Both those guys are good. Both those guys are interesting watches. Ruiz, to me, isn't a likable fella. He was prior to the AJ fight. It's the case of money brings out the worst in people. I don't see that humble guy that I did before. But best believe that happens. I've never understood that, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not saying, look, I don't make that much money from YouTube or anything like that. You know, I do. I have a job and I'm happy with it, but that's about it. But for me, I've always been at my happiest when, I'm with the lads, or if I'm with someone else, then I'm happy. I don't understand these guys who they spend their time like literally every year buying a new iPhone, this, that, and the other. They become real dicky because they've been a bit of money. I really don't get it. It's just like, how the fuck does that make you happy? Like literally, I'm going out tomorrow to Cheltenham. Well, not to Cheltenham, but to one of my mates' friends' houses. We're going out at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to do some day drinking, watch some horse racing, and put some bets on. And that's probably the happiest I'll have been all year. Literally, that's probably gonna be the happiest I'll have been all year. I know the year is not exactly old, but that's the happiest I'll probably have been all year. And you get other lads who are like, oh no, unless I'm, flashing the fuck off. Top rank have Revis, Jennings, Ajagba. I don't know if I mentioned the Jagba, but he definitely does. It always annoys me they showed Kelly with the same old promo with the triple left hook. Yeah, they really milked the shit out of that left hook. They really, really did. They milked the shit out of that left hook. They love the triple left hook. Big up to you for that, man. Let's see. Big up to Tony every single time, man. Big up to Tony every single time. Big up to you, my man. Tony Boswell, afternoon. Well, it's evening here. It's 10 o'clock in the evening. It's 10 o'clock in the evening now, man. It's 10 o'clock in the evening now, but much respect, G-Man. Man, big up to Tony every single time, man. We get a few of the regulars in. G-Man, where are you going day drinking? We're just literally going to one of my friends' houses. We're going to one of my friends' houses tomorrow to watch Cheltenham and celebrate, because we can't do anything else for Paddy's Day these days. It is the way it is. So that's what we're doing, man. Yeah. That eye injury was terrible against Guillermo Jones. I don't know how that fight lasted as long as it did. I really don't. Yo, big up to Quickfire Boxing, by the way. If you've not, go over there and check out their channel. Do great interviews. They've actually interviewed a good few MTK fighters, so big up to you guys. I don't know who's in charge of that, whether it's Ali Drew or who the hell's in charge, but whoever it is, you're doing good work over there. I've seen a couple of your interviews, and thanks for the subs you sent our way. Anytime. I don't know, is it like Ali Drew who runs it, or is it guys behind the scene? I have no idea, but big up to all yous over there. Watching a couple of the interviews you had with Josh Taylor, Ben Davison, Lee Cole, all that stuff. So big up to all yous. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, now big up to you guys. In fact, while I'm here, because you joined into my chat, I'll leave a link to your channel. Appreciate you dropping by the way. Appreciate you giving me the sub. Appreciate that. What was it? As Ty and Boot would say, yeah, thanks for that. Yo, boom. There we go. Link in the chat. So go over there and check out Quickfire Boxing. Good chat, good interviews, all that good stuff. So there we go. Link to there. As I said, I'm not sure who runs it. Is it like Ali Drew who runs it, or is it guys, or I don't know, but I'm big up to you. Could we see Kovalev again? Well, yeah, definitely. Like, he's posted images of himself on Instagram training. Whether he does or not, I don't know. I think Kovalev at this stage, I think Kovalev is collecting rather than anything else. I really do. Like, I've done a WTF video on Sergey Kovalev. If I'm doing WTF videos on you, it's not good. It's not good. Although I find them so much fun to do. I love doing them WTF videos. I'm just trying to think who I want to do one next. I was thinking Andrew Galata next, but I ain't too sure. Part of me wants to do Andrew Galata, but then another part is just like, well, I want to. Big up to Penny. She's calling it quits for the evening. I'm probably doing another 5-10 minutes. I said I'd only do an hour this evening. I would have started earlier, only the YouTube, but I was trying to do the live directly through. It just was not working at all. So big up to Penny. What else we have? Oh, here we go. G-Man, I believe Frank Warren is related to Lenny McLean, a so-called hard man. Whoever Frank said he was just a bully. I heard Lenny McLean got wiped out a few times. So I don't know. You hear all these stories about these so-called hard men. At the end of the day, just take all that with a pinch of salt, man. Michael Coffey, one of my favorite boxers. Yeah, man. Michael Coffey is. That was the first time I seen him against Darmani Rock. I think Darmani Rock is younger than me. I genuinely think he's younger than me because I'm 27. I think Darmani Rock is actually 26, and he looked like literally Darmani Rock looked like a guy in his mid 40s. Seriously, and Darmani Rock is American, so it's not like he's like a Sam Peter where you're thinking, oh, he's 40 on BoxRec, but he's really 55. Do a WTF to Adrian Broner? Yeah. Adrian Broner is someone I've been thinking of. There's a lot of fighters I've been thinking of doing them on, to be honest with you. I do them monthly, and it's just a case of finding the time. I have to decide on one, and then I do about a week, 10 days of just researching the fighter. So I have to decide on who I want to do it beforehand, because I don't want to be thinking, because when I started doing them first, I done David Price, and then I wanted to do Dave Allen, and then someone else. I think I ended up doing Deontay Wilder. It just chops and changes. So, I always want to commit to a fighter before I do it. That's what I always think. I want to commit to a fighter before I do a WTF video on them. You agree what Dylan White's saying? Lennox Bum Lewis was the best British heavyweight ever. Oh, he was. Lennox Lewis. I love Lennox Lewis. I was always a fan of him. Think he's a great fighter. Think Lennox Lewis is just absolutely just tops. He really is. He's just absolutely just top dollar. So for Lennox Lewis, I think he's fantastic. Yes, big up to Nick. I'm delighted you're in the chat, mate. Nick and Tony got some of the regulars in. We got Helene, we got all these guys in. But big up to Nick and the chat. Hashtag GMansRock. Smash the like button if you could. I'd really appreciate it. Conor Benn versus Chris Kongo. Who you got? Honestly, I would go with Chris Kongo on that fight. I was very impressed with him. I forget the guy's name he fought on the White Quebec and undercard, but very impressed I was with Chris Kongo. I reckon he would win, personally. I would give Chris Kongo that fight. I think Chris Kongo was a bit too long. I'm still not convinced by Conor Benn. I mean, he's improved. Don't get me wrong. He's improved massively. But when he came around first, I was just like, no, he's not going to do anything. He's improved a lot. But there's something there that's just telling me he's got a ceiling and he's about to hit that ceiling. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. But I just think Conor Benn is about there. I just think he's about there. 48 in the chat. Smash the like button. Yeah, definitely, man. Smash the like button if you could. And big up to Penny every time. Hashtag GMansRocks. So you forgot the S. It's a sin to forget the S on GMansRocks. Yes, it was Luther Clay. I always forget his name. I thought that fight would be a good fight and be competitive. But Chris Kongo, I was very impressed with Chris Kongo on that fight. I looked at him and I thought there is a lot of guys. There's a lot of good guys in this. Or there's a very good fighter in this guy. The one's been a bit quiet. How come not many are in tonight? Pre-drinks or Paddy's Day? It depends, mate. They can kind of hit. It's a hit and a miss. Some days I get 80, 90 in the chat. Some days I get 50, 60. At the end of the day, right, when I done my first live stream, I think it peaked at about 12 viewers. So when I see like between 40 and 50, I'm like, hey, I'm not going to complain. I was only YouTube under studio, because obviously when you have your own YouTube channel, you can check your creator studio, and it only for me today let me see like my live subscriber feed. So I had a little glance through it there today. Do you know that on the 1st of December or the 1st of January 2019, I had 36 subscribers on this channel. Fast forward 2 years later, and I had nearly 3,500. So it's crazy. It's crazy looking back. So that's why I don't like. I've got a good few people in the chat. We've enough to keep it going. I'm happy. I'm happy. So it's a hit and a miss. But probably this Sunday when we go live again, we'll get it up to about 60, 70. It's a hit. It just varies. It varies. But we're getting closer and closer to 4K. Can fucking feel it. G-Man, which boxer would you say just observed the suffering from mental health problems? Off the top of my head, I think Brooke and Groves. Don't know about Groves, but Brooke's got all kinds of shit wrong with him. He does. I mean, there's a lot going on there with When I was doing a WTF on Kell Brook, I was just like, when I was researching Kell Brook, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's been through a lot. I was like, fuck me, this guy's been through a lot. I was like, Jesus. Yo, big up to Dell. Salute the G-Man and the chat. Big up to Blue Collar Sports. Excellent channel, by the way. One of the best on YouTube, in my opinion. The amount of videos I watch of Dell. See, when Dell uploads in the evening, I always make sure to watch his videos when I'm at work, because it gets me through the day. And yeah, fuck that, man. That was bullshit. It was funny earlier. You were testing something, you went live for a minute and said, what the fuck, and turned it off. I thought that was on private. That's why. And then I couldn't get rid of the fucking thing, because I was like, I was going to do a stream, but I was going to do it directly from my phone, so I could sit in my normal seat and do it kind of, as I would a normal video. But I couldn't get the, it was called Oriental View. I couldn't get that to stay on, and it just kept stopping and stopping and stopping. And I was like, for fuck's sake. And then I was like, oh shit, that wasn't unlisted. That was live. I was like, fuck. And then I couldn't get rid of the thing. It wouldn't delete. So I was like, ah, shit. And yeah, I done a selfie, thinking, this would be grand. I'll just pop this up real quick and then it'd be gone. And then I was like, ah, shit. And then I couldn't get rid of the fucking thing. Big up to Kid Cash for the £5. Thank you. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Mate, that £5 you gave, I'm going to put some of that on a bet tomorrow. All right. So Dale, I'm going to go on the Coors Light tomorrow, Dale. I'm meeting a few of the guys for a little day drinking session, because obviously it's Paddy's Day here. It's a bank holiday. So yeah, we're going to do a few bets on Cheltenham tomorrow afternoon. And as I said, right, I'm like a blind kid. Literally, I'm like a blind kid, in a minefield when it comes to these kind of things. I know nothing about racing or anything like that. So I'm just going in, whatever the guys tell me, put money on this guy, that's who I'm going on. Literally, that's what I am. A little blind kid in the minefield when it comes to these kind of things. Hashtag king of analogies. But yeah, that's the great thing. So happy Paddy's Day. G-Man, what makes you think Brooks suffers from mental health? Do you see something in his body language? Reason why I think George Groves is how he was at the Campbell Loma press conference. George Groves, I just don't. I think that he's more there. With Kell Brook, I don't want to necessarily say it's mental health, but with Kell Brook, I mean, he's done so many bizarre things over the years, and just so many things that you just question. Like, even things you forget. Like, I remember he was kicked off planes. He's been stabbed more than once. He's been, we've heard the WhatsApp calls, and not just what was in the WhatsApp calls, the things he was doing in the lead up to fights, what. It just makes you think kind of what goes on in this guy's head. Do you remember when he was kicked off the plane a couple of years ago, straight after the Golovkin fight? I think they said he even tried to smoke on a plane or something like that. I was like, what the fuck? That's just asking for trouble. So yeah, Kell Brooks always struck me as being someone who I don't get it. Things, a bit like with Billy Joe. Billy Joe just tweets things that are just going to piss people off, but it's things like, you're going to get in trouble for this, but you do it anyway. I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. But lads and lassies, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this stream here. I only wanted to come on to do about an hour, but we've had some good crack in here. We've had a good laugh. It's been mainly boxing. We talked about. So I'm going to hold out until Sunday. So tomorrow I'm going to go and big up the Kid Cash again. So I'm going to go and I'm going to take that and I'm going to chuck that on a horse tomorrow. As I said earlier on in the chat, this is how little I know about horse racing. If a guy said to me that horse is, blind with 3 legs, but he's going to win the race, I'd be like, yep, fine. I'll put the money on it. How would I know? I know no better. It's horse racing. I don't know what any of these horses are called. But big up to all yous. Before I go, I just want to say big up one last time to my boy. I don't know who it is, but if it's someone who runs it, big up to Quickfire Boxing, popping in the chat. Thanks for dropping by. It's a link to their channel. Go and check that out. happy out. But big up to Halim, big up to Limo every time. Happy Paddy's Day. Enjoy. Yeah, we'll enjoy tomorrow. We'll enjoy tomorrow, definitely. But lads and lassies, for now, I'm going to call it quits. Hopefully, I'll get some videos up in the morning. I'll probably upload a video in the morning before we do anything, because I've got my stand working back, so it's all well and good. And as Nick said, smash the like button on the way out if you could. It doesn't cost a penny. Happy Paddy's Day. I hope you all have a good week, a good end of the week, and I'll talk to you. Peace.